We do have dates from the submergence. You're looking at material that's more than 12,000 years old.
Well, you're looking at stuff that was above land.
This was a tough dive, massive currents there. This is Kerama off Akajima. Off Akajima in the Okinawa group of islands. To me, Flint, it's stunning that you see that as a totally natural thing, but I guess we've just got very different eyes. The central upright surrounded by upright megaliths, all cut out of the bedrock, very similar to the chamber recently excavated at Karahantepe, where you have uprights cut out of the bedrock as well. It seems to me inconceivable that nature could have made this, that nature could have separated out this central upright and then created the uprights surrounding it in such a perfect way.
But it's not totally perfect, right? Like, look at the back. The back is much larger.
Yeah,
there's a piece on the side that seems like it's cut out, and then there's a piece in front that seems like it's cut out. But even the one to the lower left is not. It's not cut the same. It's odd that you have that passageway when you're looking down, and it's sort of uniform on all sides around the monolith. That's pretty fascinating. It's interesting.
My point is not nearly enough work has been done by archaeology.
And how long ago was supposedly was this above ground?
About 13,000 years ago, somewhere of that order. Somewhere of that order. That was the last time it could have been done above ground. Otherwise, nature, if Flint believes so, has done it. But I'm pretty confident we're looking at
What is the most compelling evidence that you've seen in an underwater site that of man-made construction or moving of stones?
I repeat, this is Kerama. I'm only showing a fraction of the slides that we have from Yonaguni. Yonaguni isn't simply that terrace. It's a whole series of monuments which continue over a distance of a couple of miles underwater. There's a huge stone face carved out of the rock. There's a passageway. Down at the bottom of Yonaguni, there's rocks have been cleared to the side away from the passageway. It's the combination of all of these different things across an area of 2 miles off the island of Yonaguni that make that one of my high priority sites for man-made workmanship. And the Indian sites are also extremely intriguing, and unfortunately none of that work has been followed up, which is a pity. And when we come to what you call rescue archaeology, Flint, if we come back to Northern Europe, for example, I mean, the last place on Earth that I would look for the remains of a lost civilization is Northern Europe. Because Northern Europe was a frozen wilderness during the Ice Age, and any lost civilization worth its salt would not have focused a lot of effort on Northern Europe in that time. The place to look is down near the tropics, it's down near the equator, it's in places that weren't horrifically cold and unbearable during the Ice Age. And when you talk about rescue archaeology, this is one of the problems I have, is that
what are you guys doing? Is my working? Hey. Set. What do you want, Set?
there is no targeted search for the possibility of a lost civilization, because archaeology is already convinced that no such thing could have existed. So what we get is accidental discoveries. Somebody's building a road or building a dam. They call in the archaeologists to see if there's any archaeology that's going to be disrupted, and some archaeology is found sometimes. That's how the Suruti Mastodon site near San Diego was discovered, because roadworks were being done there. But this is not a targeted search for a lost civilization. This is accidental discovery. I would maintain that in the Amazon rainforest, in the Sahara Desert, in the 27 million square kilometers of continental shelves, massively underserved by archaeology, and in other areas of the world, archaeology's focus is on very limited parts of those, not on massive parts of them. And then, I'm sure you know this, Flip, that when we come to most archaeological sites, the amount of the site that is excavated is rarely more than 5%, and often less than that. And that's for good motives, to preserve the site for future generations of archaeologists to investigate. But again, it doesn't, I think, allow archaeologists to lay such a claim to the past that they can absolutely rule out any possibility of a lost civilization.
Okay, Flint.
Yeah, I mean, so if you want to, Jamie, do you want to look up the site Pavlo Petri, Pavlo Petri? This is a site in the Aegean, and this is an example of kind of what, I mean, I can put it up on my computer if you prefer. So if you look at this, you have very clear stone courses, for example, underwater, and it's not just sort of stone courses and walls that we find. This is from a few thousand years ago. What we find actually are a ton of artifacts with it, right? They dive, they excavate, they pull up ceramics, they pull up stone tools, and they are able to therefore show that this was an occupied place. This is obviously not due to sea level rise, this is due to tectonic activity, that this is now underwater. Helike off the north coast of Greece also is another one that people suggested might have inspired Plato's Atlantis because it happened during the and so we actually do find, you know, from more recent times, actual underwater sites of
Pavlo Petri.
I think it's from about 3,000 years ago or so. So like 1,000 BC.
Are you saying those are
Oh, I'm saying if you say clear stone courses, that looks exactly like what you have in the historic period. Huh? Yeah, we would. And so I would expect, though, if you're going to make an argument that it would look like architecture. Maybe the type of architecture that would have.
looks like megalithic architecture to me. It looks like rock hewn architecture. It looks like the rock hewn areas of Saxe-Meiningen, for example.
Well, we see many different blocks at Saxe-Meiningen. We see multiple courses of blocks.
You know something about it.
No, I've never been there.
So how can you possibly think?
I've seen photos of it.
Well, I've been there dozens of times.
Wait, how can you actually learn about archaeology?
I was there just a few weeks ago.
Okay, but let's look at the images so we can
Let's
discuss
look at
this.
the images, because actually one of the very yes, there are huge rocks. Rock cut areas with depth.
I don't understand how this is there. Let's talk about it. That is not the same thing as excavating the site. That is not the same thing.
It's just obvious that I've not been. It's obvious that you're ignorant of the site. You're ignorant of the site because you don't know what the site looks like. You don't know. It's a huge area that is cut out of solid rock. Let's just talk about blocks.
Let's not bicker here and let's look at it. And
Yeah, let's do this.
look at it.
Now that's the blocky walls that you've been talking about.
Yeah, and that doesn't look anything like Yonaguni.
But they confront another area. You were showing us some pictures of it earlier, Jamie. A whole rock-hewn hillside.
I don't know. None of that looks like Yonaguni. This looks like actual architecture.
Yeah, it is actually architecture.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But this is not the picture that I would like to see.
Do you want to find it, Graham, and put it up through HDMI? Because Jamie
I
obviously.
mean, I know what he was asking for, but
You had
I
it up a
stumbled
few
across. I
moments ago,
stumbled
Jamie.
across it. It wasn't there on purpose or anything. It was probably in here somewhere, and like how I got there, I was clicking around. So
Let's see if we can get.
And I mean, you know, part of the goal though is to also have a date. So, you know, like some of that stuff that you showed
There.
off the coast of India.
That one there.
Okay.
There's lots of this in Saxe-Meiningen, as you would know if you'd been there.
This still does not look anything like Yonaguni.
Nice. YouTube. Wait. Okay, I got it. Is it online or what? Oh.